Howdy folks, it's Angela Hunting Gear Guy, and this is a Savage 99. These rifles were offered in a lot of different cartridges, a lot of different trims. This one is a blind magazine. There is no, you don't see any detachable magazine from the bottom. And it's a lever or lever action rifle. Goes down and we can access the top there. You can see the chamber's empty and the magazine's empty. Why don't we take a closer look at this thing? So the Savage 99 was kind of a high-tech lever action, if you can put those two things together. Consider what else was around in the late 1800s. 1894, Winchester 94, tube fed, so magazine tube on the bottom on that one, which means you can only run round nose or flat nose bullets on it. This one has a blind rotary magazine fed through the top. It's got a round counter on the side, and it can therefore take pointed bullets. It can take pointed bullets, so that's going to be higher power. Because it doesn't have to have that magazine tube out front, it can have a nice trim fore end, nice and sleek. The sights are utilitarian. They work. This one is adjustable, so if I want to, I can move that back and forth to give me a little bit more or less elevation. And this one, so when I took a look at the serial number on it, it's either from 1901 or 1900. I've brightened up the chambering on the side there. This one's in 303 Savage. They also had a couple of other ones. Okay, keep in mind, okay, it's lever action. Why use 30-30? 30-30 is flat nose. They're never going to put out a pointed one. Okay, we'll make our own 303 Savage. The 303 Savage kind of looks like a 30-30. It's rimmed. It's kind of the same bottleneck shape. But you can use pointed bullets because, hey, we got a rotary magazine. Where we're going, we don't need roads. So we don't need the flat nose on it. Therefore, proprietary chambering. Same thing when they, actually this shape kind of sucks. Why don't we make a better shape? Well, that better shape is the 300 Savage. This is very close to what ended up being the 308 Winchester, which is a modern cartridge from the 50s or 60s, which is pretty modern for this day and age. So this rifle and Savage were actually pretty innovative for back in the day, and this rifle was too. Again, we have no hammer here. There's no hammer to get caught on things. Instead, why don't we just put a little safety on the side there? Oh, there, the safety's on, and it locks the lever at the same time. There we go, safety off, ready to fire. And internal striker on this thing, so very, very modern. A little bit ugly. Depending on how you look at these things, the Savage 99 could be described as a little bit ugly. A little bit hard to scope. Yeah, I mean, it does have some screw holes on the side here for a side scope mount, but that wasn't really the style, I guess, when moving forward in years. But all in all, like, some pretty good technology. So why are these things so cheap? Why are they cheaper than like Win 94s, which are a little bit more crude, I guess, in terms of technology? They use a flat point bullet. They're limited on power. These things were offered, again, in 300 Savage, which is pretty close to the 308. So why are these cheaper than the Win 94s? Well, for one, a lot of these are chambered in those proprietary cartridges that were pointy, but didn't survive until today's day and age, right? So 303 Savage, good luck finding this stuff. If you can find it, it's like $80 a box. It's kind of expensive to find ammo for this gun. You can reload for it. Fantastic. Okay, you can reload for it. That's fine, right? What about the sights? Well, the sights are, well, they're okay. They're utilitarian. On the rear there, we got a buckhorn that's got a little plate on it that we can use to adjust down, up and down. And then we have a ridged, for her pleasure, rear sight there where we can change the elevation that we're shooting at and the distance that we're shooting at, really. So we've got those two things. So in terms of what we want in a modern rifle, this is lacking a little bit. The iron sights are pretty bog standard, but one thing that is kind of nice, especially compared to the side loaders of the Win 94 and Marlin 336, is that you load this thing through the top. So I got a couple of dummy rounds here, and it's very easy. Got a little round interrupter there that kind of grabs onto it, and we just kind of pop those in the top. And it rotates the magazine around and tells us how many we have left in it. So once I load that, there's one in the chamber, and there are 2 in the magazine. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Like a lot of them, they've tried doing this on, like you've seen, like the Space Glocks and that kind of thing, where they got a little digital screen on the back that shows the round count. They had this shit in the 1900, or like the 1900s, 1900. They had a round counter on this magazine, and it works. You pull this thing back, and you check on the side, and now all of a sudden it's saying 1. There's 1 round in that magazine. And I rack one more, and now there are none left in the magazine. Kind of cool. And the fact it's a rotary magazine, yeah, also cool. So, yeah, there's a lot of coolness to these rifles. I don't know how much point there is in testing the trigger pull weight of a 120-year-old rifle, but let's find out. Our safety's off. There is no lever safety on this one, which I like. Let's see what this one will pull at. 4 pounds. It's fine. How about the creep on it? Let's see. I'm going to pull straight back. I mean, it moves, but as soon as it starts moving, it's going to fire. 4 pounds. I like it. I like it. How about that safety? Well, it is... There's no resistance moving that thing back and forth. And once it's in, that lever is locked and the trigger is locked. So I like the safety. It can be used quietly. Very quietly. So in or out, that safety is silent. It's probably not blocking the sear. It's probably only blocking the safety, but I don't care. It's doing what I want it to do. And... I think that's important enough, right? So should you get a Savage 99? Probably not. And for a couple of reasons. One, the ones that you're going to find, they're probably not, like, they had them in all sorts of cartridges. They have them in 308 if you want it. If you can find one in 308, fantastic. You get ammo for days and that kind of thing. If you're going to go hunting with this thing and hunt, let's say, 100 yards and in, yeah, fine. I mean, the 303 Savage, just like a 30-30, it'll kill a deer at 100 yards, no problem. You're going to have problems getting enough fidelity out of these sights to go much further than that, which is a problem with a lot of iron sight rifles of the time. And the cartridge isn't really, well, at least the older cartridges like 303 Savage aren't going to have a lot of power to get much further than 100 yards. But they'll be okay. They'll be okay enough. I think primarily you're going to run into problems of ergonomics on this thing. Okay, so around the bush, like really tight shots, no problem. Easy enough to use. You can pop this thing on safety, carry it around loaded, and when you're ready to fire, pop that safety off and fire it. Easy enough. So if that's all you need, this rifle will do it. But every rifle will do that. Every centerfire rifle that you could use for hunting is probably going to work for deer-sized game inside of 100. Outside of that, it's going to be a little bit hard. If I want a sling, I don't know if I can put a screw in there. I might have to put it further back on this thing just to get enough meat on the fore end. So that might be a concern. With some of the older ones, I'm sure some of the newer ones have a thicker fore end that you could put a sling on. I don't know. You could use it at close range. I think that's the long and short of it is, yes, you can use it at close range. You can use anything at close range. I think it's a cool rifle. I think the technology from the time, again, this rifle's made in 1900 or 1901, and it's using a rimmed cartridge. It could be pointed. It could get a little bit better ballistic coefficient. It would have been a gamer rifle back in the day. Maybe the mag cap isn't as much as a Win 94. Win 94 will hold, 7-ish rounds. This is going to hold 5 rounds in the rotary fixed magazine, but this one can hold pointed bullets, and those are better. So maybe a gamer rifle of the day. A little bit ugly looking, but cool nonetheless, and a cool bit of history that you can buy for. These are the cheapest lever centerfire rifles you can get right now. This one was $500 for me. $500 for a 120-year-old rifle is pretty cool in terms of cool little antiques that you can still hunt with at close range. Anyways, thanks for watching.